Welcome to Perfect Vocals Academy YouTube channel. If you want to learn audio engineering from top to bottom, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you know every single week when we release a new tutorial. Hey guys, this one is about preparing a mix for mastering. I had someone request this topic, and you can follow these tips if you're mastering it yourself or sending it out. Either way. First of all, one thing that you can't fix in mastering that easily is noise, pops, loud breaths, stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you handle that. You know, vocals are the main thing that are going to have issues. So, you know, say you have really excessive breaths or something. You could go up to the plugin called D-Breath, and this plugin, if you put the reduction like way up here like that, it will like just turn down the breaths a lot to where you don't hear them. Because if you have it like this, it's going to completely take the breaths out, and it can sound a little unnatural. So D-Breath is a cool plugin for sure.
Perfect Vocals Academy presents the Vocal Mixing Masterclass. Do you want to become a profitable audio engineer? This course includes a PVA sound treatment ebook, 15 in-depth videos, as well as worksheets for each video. Bonus video, how to profit as an up-and-coming audio engineer, and a bonus Pro Tools template using Waves plugins is also included.
A lot of times you'll hear like clicks and pops. Isotope, D-Click. This plugin is magical. So depending on how extreme your clicks are, you might have to turn up the sensitivity a little bit. But normally that's fine. And then single band normally works, but you could always try multi-band. And then this is for like lower frequency, more like artifacts. And higher up here is like clicks and pops. It doesn't get rid of the artifacts as much as the clicks, but I've actually used this before on a vocal that had some like auto-tune artifacts that were like kind of glitchy, and it actually helped it. So stuff like that you really want to make sure is done before you send it to mastering. You want to find the loudest peak, the loudest part of the song. Normally this is going to be the chorus. So if you like this artist too, this is Danny Taylor. She's really dope. Go find her on listening platforms. Her IG, I think, is I am Danny Taylor. So check her out. Visit all your favorite places. Boy, just tell me what your taste is. I can be your fantasy. Ain't nothing too crazy. Okay, so in Pro Tools, see this says PK here, that's peak. If you hold Command, it changes it from volume, delay, compensation, like latency, and then peak. We're peaking at about -5, -6. That's where you want it. You want it to where there's a good 5 to 6 dB of headroom for the mastering engineer. It's not that it won't work if you're peaking out at like -3 or -2, but to be on the safe side, I always like to make sure it's about -5, which is normally in Pro Tools, which is about 75% of the way up. You'll see the meter. Check it out. We're about 75% of the way up the meter. So you don't even have to really look at the peaking numbers that much. As long as when you're mixing, you're looking at the master fader, as long as your master is about 75% of the way up, that's the rule of thumb, then you're going to be peaking around -6, -5, somewhere around there.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Or just tell me what your taste is. I can be your fantasy. Ain't nothing too crazy.
Okay, and then it's always smart to get a limiter out and basically see what it's going to sound like when it is crushed with a limiter.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Or just tell me what your taste is. I can be your fantasy.
Yeah, you don't hear much of a difference because I'm level matching because I can't clip my tutorial.
I can be your
So you want to get about no more than like 2 to 3 dB of gain reduction, because that's all the mastering. If the mastering engineer's good, that's all he's going to be really getting. Maybe 4 on like a really big peak.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Or just tell me what your taste is. I can
Yeah, right there is about good.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Or just tell me what your taste is. I can be your fantasy.
Yeah, so you could even do that as well. Like you can bring the ceiling down and make these match and link it to where you're limiting it, but it's not bringing it all the way up. It doesn't really matter. What you're listening for is if things are getting squashed. If it sounds about the same, so if you do it like this and you level match, right? So obviously if this ceiling wasn't at -8, if that was at like, -1 or something, when you turn this limiter on, things are going to get way louder. But for me, I have it set to where nothing gets louder. I'm just limiting the signal. So if you have it set like this, you're level matching. You're not going to hear any volume change.
I can be your fantasy.
See, that's with it on and off. But what we're listening to is it too squashed? Is it just right? Does it sound like nothing changed? That's good. If it sounds like nothing changed, that's good. That means everything's balanced pretty well, and when the limiter hits it in the mastering stage, it's not going to, like, there's not going to be a sub bass or a bass guitar that's just peeking out the limiter and everything's kind of ducking out and distorting.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all.
And you can even test out crushing it a little bit just to see.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places.
See, once it got to about there, I kind of heard the sub bass kind of trip out the limiter some.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Or just I can be.
Yeah, it doesn't sound horrible, but you can tell it's a little squashed.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places.
Yeah, some of that squashed.
I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Or just tell me what you
If you're asking the mastering engineer to get it as loud as possible and crushing, and you get it, and you try to get it crushing on here, and it sounds like it's getting too squashed, 9 times out of 10, the low end is too much. You know, we all love low end. I've had videos about this before, but low end is the whole reason that you can't get a loud mix most of the time. It's the reason that you can't bring down the threshold as far as you need to in the mastering stage on a limiter or an isotope with the maximizer. So bring down that sub bass or bass guitar or whatever's hitting with that low end. Just bring that down a little bit. And then once you bring it down, you can try to squash it a little more. So let's bring it down. We have the stems here. I made this production. Visit all your favorite places. Boy, just tell me what you take. There it is. I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Cool. I brought the sub bass down like a dB and a half, maybe 2. I can be your fantasy. Visit all your favorite places. Boy, just tell me what your taste is. I can be your fantasy. Yeah, so that allowed me to bring down the threshold, a little more, just to make it a touch louder. Okay, so that's that. Now, when you've tested it out, be sure to take off the limiter, for sure. You want to give the mastering engineer a uncompressed signal. I'm not opposed to a little bit of EQ. Some people put an EQ on their master, and I've done it too. It's called top-down mixing. So you put an EQ on your master, and you kind of mix through it, and it saves you a lot of work sometimes. That's fine. Keep the EQ. Don't take that off. If you mixed through an EQ and your master, keep that on there. It's just the limiter that you don't want. If you used, say, a tape saturation plugin, like Kramer tape, if you use that, I'd say you can keep that too, unless the mastering engineer says not to. But anything that's coloring the signal, EQ, tape saturation, anything but compression, you can go with. So when you bounce it out, don't bounce it down to 44.116. So if you did your session 44.124 or say 48 sample rate and 32, whatever you did it at, whatever the session is, that's what you bounce it down as. You don't need to add an MP3. You're just going to be sending the engineer a WAV file. So yeah, so that's it, guys. That's how to prepare your tracks for mastering. I hope this was helpful. Please check out the Vocal Mixing Masterclass. It's down in the description below. Visit the Thinkific link and create an account on Thinkific and check out the course. It would be awesome if you made the purchase. I appreciate everybody's support. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you guys next week.